What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be going over phase 2 of the Mark III Supra. And I gotta say, I'm really excited about this. Now initially I wasn't going to be doing anything more than just tidying it up and being done with it. However, the interior did get lived in by critters and it was still pretty bad. So I was already starting to think, what can I do next on it, when John Wilburn reached out to me and told me he was working on an event called No Name National. So this was like November, December of last year. So I said, you know, if I'm going to be pulling the interior out, let's go ahead and build this car like the 1960s and 70s muscle car hot rodders of the days gone by. How can we take this 30-year-old Japanese import and build it with that kind of inspiration? And if you guys haven't already heard about No Name National, John Wilburn's channel, highly recommend checking it out. But in short, it's a community-oriented event bringing not only the spectators and the content creators of YouTube, but everyone in between together. So head over to his channel to find out more about that. So what are we doing to this perfectly tamed 1UZ V8 swapped Supra? Well, nothing's ever good enough. Everything needs to be pushed, and that's one of the reasons why I love any type of motorsport, whether it's autocross, GT racing, NASCAR, drag racing especially. Always moving forward, never looking back. How can we improve the vehicles that we're racing? So let's go ahead and kind of internalize what we can do to take this tuner into a muscle kind of realm. So we're going to start off with one big thing. We're not going to turbocharge it. I mean, of course you can definitely do that, but I want to kind of, I want that feeling of the supercharger in this for a lot of reasons. Autocross, not having that turbo lag, things like that, having power on demand. So let's go ahead and go over some of the things that we're doing right now. Now the 700-pound gorilla in the room, as you can see, is actually a 380-pound V8. Gone is the 7M GTE, and in its place is a 1UZ out of a 1992 Lexus SC400. There has been slight modification to the engine, but nothing extreme. We are going to have to do a few things to be able to house the HTV 2300 supercharger, such as replacing the head gaskets and going up to studs instead of bolts. But we'll cover that another day. One of the things we are going to also have to swap out, as you can see down there, is the power steering pump. We do have to replace it with just an idle pulley, but over here we have the replacement power steering pump. This is out of a 2002 MR2 Spider. The reservoir is already attached, and we're going to be fixing it in front of the radiator. This will allow for a different location for the power steering pump. It's pretty tight as it is, but this guy right here will allow us to better remove the engine in case we do put a little bit too much boost through it. So the goal will be a 3-hour replacement period or time, but hopefully we never have to figure that one out. In front of or behind that, we're going to be installing a Mishimoto multi-core radiator with their fan setup and shroud. Great unit, definitely needed for a supercharged. It's going to get an intercooler too. The intercooler will take and be placed in front of the radiator. Over here you'll see we have a new high flow fuel pump. That's going to be critical. We also have 850cc injectors going in, a really awesome fuel pump fuel pressure regulator, and if you look over here, we have our line lock. If we'll focus on that, I'd appreciate it there, camera. The line lock, as you can see, we did a stainless steel braid around it. Now, if you're going to be going fast, you got to be able to stop fast. And as you can see, we're definitely going to be doing a slight upgrade over the existing rotor and caliper setup. Behind there, you'll see a single piston caliper, and obviously it's been sitting outside for a little while, so a fairly rusty rotor. What you'll have right here is out of a Mercedes-Benz from 2001. We'll do a whole video on it, but those are Brembos. They're 4-piston, and they're going to be a significant upgrade. Much larger rotors as well. Those are out of a 350Z, and obviously slotted, cross-drilled, definitely an upgrade over the old one. If you're going to go fast, you better be able to stop fast. Because this is basically going to become a massive air pump, you need to be able to get the air out. We're not going to be doing the fart cans or anything like that. We're going to go with a more classy and more traditional style based off of the OEM. These are the HKS. And the only real upgrade between this and the OEM is they're nothing like the OEM at all. So you're getting a 3-inch exhaust and a much less restrictive resonator and muffler. It'll make for a great driver. Now the next thing is, all the way around, we're going to be getting ourselves some Proxy R888Rs made by Toyo. Great set of wheels. I'm really excited about them as well. And the backs, well, let's just say they're pretty stout. I am going to be going for more of a road track style, as you can see, because we are going to be doing some drag racing this year, but this is probably going to be doing more autocross than anything else. Inside, you can see we've done, well, a whole lot of wire stripping, and I'll tell you what, all the original wire computers and stuff that, honestly, we don't want. We don't want the ABS. We don't want the cruise control. All that stuff is gone. We pulled not quite a 5-gallon bucket, but pretty close, of wires and ECU stuff. You know, not that it's going to save us a lot of weight, but I don't need the computer telling me what we're doing. So the next video is going to be tightening that up and reinstalling the interior. And I did do some stripping of, as you can see right there, the original shielding for the heat and audio, vibration, stuff like that. The sound deadening, that was the word I'm looking for. That's all gone. So the thing that I'm really looking for is, you know, somewhere in between like a Grand Sport and a GT. I want this thing to have quite a bit of power, but I want it to be very comfortable. I want to be able to drive to no-name nationals. I want it to be powerful enough to have some fun there, as well as reliable enough to drive 1,000 miles. To me, that's critical. I know I'm probably like an outlier, but I like to drive to things. Anyways, the original sound deadening is atrocious, and I'm really happy that it's gone. Also, because it's tar followed by like insulation by tar on top of it, it retains some of the smell of the critters living in there, so go on. Do that on a sub 40-degree day, and you won't have to use the dry ice or all these crazy things. You just tap it with a hammer. I'll show a little video when I actually do some more interior stuff about that. Other than that, it's just a matter of getting this all back to the way it needs to be, and then we can move on with other things. So, of course, we have a lot of things that we still need for this. We were on a waiting list, but great news, the wiring harness for this is being made as we speak. Calvin and his crew down at Cartoon New Zealand, that's Cartoon New Zealand, they're almost done with it, so we should be getting that, well, it should be shipped out fairly soon. And I gotta say, if you're looking for a wiring harness for something like this, they're great option. In his channel, I highly recommend you follow it. He is a riot. He definitely knows what he's doing, and he's fun to watch. You got to check him out, and you won't be disappointed. The other thing is, we have this right here. This is the Haltech Elite 2500. This will be able to control, even if we had an automatic transmission, this can control that. Not sponsored, just we're going for the best of the best on this thing. No expense spared. This thing right here will be able to control everything from our injectors to the Audi R8 coil-on plugs that are going on the engine. So this will be able to do everything. Really excited about this. I've always wanted one of these, and I decided we're going to jump on it for this. And then, of course, Elate is manufacturing the kit and everything, but the supercharger is ready. The supercharger, of course, is made by Harrop. I'm probably butchering it, but it's an Australian manufacturer, and there's a waiting backlog on it, so hopefully it kind of sounds like we'll be getting that fairly early in May, which is great because as soon as we get that, we got to get it in the car to the tuner and see what this thing can do on a drag strip prior to going to Power Tour. We want everything worked out of this thing before we hit that, because we break down 1,000, 1,500 miles away from home. That's going to be a little bit tough. So, we're going to be jumping on this tomorrow. We're going to be getting the wiring harness put together, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of a difference in the way we do the content. As you can see right now, we have a different camera. I would be holding it up here, but the thing weighs about 3.5 billion pounds. So you'd be like getting shaken around and feel like we're watching the Blair Witch program. But I gotta say, so far I'm really excited about it. And so yeah, we're gonna start doing about 5 videos a week, and we're gonna bring you through the entire process of this build. Of course, we already got the engine in there. If you're interested in that build, you can check this link somewhere around here. And we got a lot in store for you, and we don't have more than a couple months to do it. So buckle up, get ready, and we're gonna rock and roll on this thing. And in the comment section down below, I wanna hear from every one of you guys. Is it possible to build a 1989, a 30-year-old Japanese import into a 1960-70 inspired muscle car? You know, obviously it's an import, but I love muscle cars as much as I love this Supra. So whether it's the namesake of, well, not the namesake, but the channel's logo, the Buick GS, or the Supra, can we make common ground? Can we turn this thing into a tire shredding muscle car inspired monster? Comment, let me know what you think. I think you guys will be surprised with how awesome these platforms are. There's a reason why I love them. And on that note, guys, I'm really stoked to be starting out 2022. I know it's a little bit different for a lot of people. I live up in the Northeast, so we're just getting nice weather. I will be building a garage in May, so next winter we won't have to stop. But last year when we were pulling engines, I had to take the pump off of the cherry picker and put it on the furnace because it wouldn't go up at all. So the woes of the Northeast without a garage. We're going to change that this year. So again, comment section down below. Can you build a muscle car era inspired import? I think we can. I think this thing is going to be absolutely killer. And of course, we're not, eventually we will paint this. Right now, more important things. But we're not going to go all put spoilers and all that weird stuff on it. The body's going to be the way it is. If we have to cut a hole in the hood to fit a supercharger, well then so be it. We're going to do it. Till the next time, remember guys, remember, keep her shiny side up, and God bless.